everybody, and welcome to another Ddfr with your host, Doomsday Ducks fan. Today, we are going to report on the Ducks' 10 a.m. game yesterday against the Philadelphia Flyers. The Ducks won 7-4. Trevor Zegras' first goal of the season, Adam Henrique's first goal of the season. Capped off by a Frank Vatrano hat trick again. The Ducks get back to 500, and the season is hopeful. All right, let's head over to Optimistic Austin. Thanks, DDF. So some things that we should probably talk about. Trevor Zegras got his first goal of the season. It's been a little bit of a hairy situation with him. He hadn't been scoring. He's been playing great defensively. His back check is awesome. His defensive zone awareness is actually really, really good. Pretty much any time that they're in the defensive zone, his line with Leo Carlson and Troy Terry are able to get the puck out of the zone. But he hadn't been able to score. Since his benching in Columbus in the third period in overtime, which the Ducks won, by the way, with benching Zegras and Leo Carlson not playing against Adam Fantilli. Just wanted to throw that out there. But anyhow, since that game, Zegras has looked even better. He even talked about the benching after this game. He said that it was a message that he got sent, and he said it was well received, and if that's the standard, then he needs to play better. And every single person who is like, oh, Trevor Zegras is uncoachable. Oh, and when is he going to finally understand? Guys, he just didn't have a good coach last year. Again, no disrespect to Dallas Eakins. Just didn't have a good coach last year. Greg Cronin, different beast. Another thing that we can talk about, Pavel Mintyukov continues his fantastic play. Great in his own zone, great in the offensive zone. This kid is giving me big Victor Hedman vibes. I said it at the beginning of the season, and I'll say it again. Victor Hedman, Mikhail Sergachev, whoever you want to compare him to, this dude has it. He looks like he's been in the league for 3-4 years already. Lucas Dostal gets his third win of the year. He didn't look amazing in this game. He looked good early on. When the Ducks needed him to look good early on, he looked good. Once the game was out of reach, he let in a goal or two here or there that were kind of stinkers. There was one that kind of just beat him cleanly. That's one you kind of have, Dostal. Look. In a game like this, it's okay to let those in. Lock that shit up before we get into a important game, or a close game even, and you let in a goal like that. That was just... It was a goal that an NHL goalie should have saved. I think that's as simple as it is. And of course, we have to talk about Frank the Tank Vatrano with his second hat trick of the season. I didn't know that last offseason the Ducks signed Austin Matthews Light. Dude has 2 hat tricks in the first 8 games of the season, helps bring the Ducks back to 500, and puts the Ducks one more win away from sweeping this road trip. Granted, it will be a hard-fought game in Pittsburgh, but sweeping the road trip is a possibility. And looking at this road trip, before it started, I don't think anybody would have thought the Ducks were going to sweep, let alone come out above 500 in this road trip. Well, that's all I have, really, with all of the optimism. We can definitely talk about more things, but if I just keep going, I'll just keep you here all day. So, thank you again for having me on, DDF, and back to you. Alright, thank you so much for that insight, Austin. A few other things to note for the Ducks. We still have no update on Jamie Drysdale. We know that he's on IR, but he did get put on it retroactively, meaning that he can come off of it anytime. I don't know why they're being so secretive about his injury, but we know that it's not his labrum again in his shoulder. We know that it's a lower body injury, but we still don't have an update. Alex Killorn is progressing as usual. He should be on track to be back in a few weeks here. The Ducks are looking to sweep this road trip in Pittsburgh on Monday. Who would have thought that we would be saying that at the end of this road trip? But here we are, saying it at the end of this road trip. Another thing to note, we now know the Ducks have two really good offensive lines. They have Leo Carlson with Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras. And when Leo's not in the lineup for the first 2 months here, when he's being in and out of the lineup, it's going to be Henrique who takes that spot up there. And then we also have the Frank Vetrano, Ryan Strome, Mason McTavish line. Yeah, that one's been doing pretty good. The penalties from that line need to sheesh a little. Like, again, penalty issues are something that the Ducks have had an issue with early on. That and I mean, that's pretty much it. They recover really well. When the Flyers started to come back, they scored 2 quick goals. It was 4-2 at one point. And the Ducks recovered and got 2 more goals and made it 6-2. And then the Flyers scored again, make it 6-3. Ducks score again, 7-3. And then the Flyers score again, 7-4. The Ducks didn't quit the entire game, but neither did the Flyers. I think this was actually a really good punk test, I would almost say. It was really funny to watch Tortorella almost try and challenge Zegras' goal when I don't really know what he would have challenged for. It wasn't even close to being offsides. There wasn't anybody near the goaltender. Dude, Tortorella, like, honestly, it felt so good to watch Zegras score on him and then watch him try and find a way to make it so Zegras wouldn't score on him and challenge. But then he couldn't find one and he was upset because he had to burn a timeout. His only timeout because he wanted to look to see if he could challenge that. If I was a Flyers fan, I'd be a little mad at Johnny there. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Out of spite? For a player? Yikes. Yeah. But regarding the game against the Flyers, the Ducks didn't look great defensively as the game went on. They looked pretty good to begin the game. And the Ducks had some puck luck early on, but they kept pushing. They dominated the game. They did. Early on, the Flyers had the better chances, but the Ducks were playing good defensively. And then once the game started to open up, the Ducks just kind of dominated the play. Alright, that pretty much wraps everything up with the Flyers game. Looking forward to the Ducks' next game. They play against the Pittsburgh Penguins on Monday, the 30th of October at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 Mountain Time, 6 Central Time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Penguins are not doing great. They're 3-5, while the Ducks are 4-4. Both teams are going to be playing their 9th game of the season, and Ducks are looking to sweep. Penguins are looking to get a game away from 500. Both teams are going to come out strong. I don't know if we're going to see Leo. We might see Leo just because it's in Pittsburgh. You might as well have him play the entire road trip. If we don't see Leo on Monday, assume that we are going to see him in their next game at home against the Blue Jackets. For all of you Southern California people, the game will be on Bally Sports West. For the rest of the country, you're looking at ESPN+. The game is going to be interesting. My guess is Gibson gets the start in his hometown of Pittsburgh. And hopefully the Ducks don't get lit up by a pissed-off Penguin squad. They have offense and lots of it. It's going to be a great test for their defense this game. I don't think they'll have an issue scoring on the Penguins. The Penguins have had some pretty poor defense along with some subpar goaltending. while the Ducks' goaltending, at the very least, has been average. Well, that is it for this one. Thank you all so much for showing up and watching. I appreciate everybody who comes in and watches the DDFRs. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. Hit that subscribe button if you really like it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.